Hey, this is Scott. Today we're going to take a quick look at the SmallRig Cage for the GH5 camera and some of its accessories. If this is your first time to this channel, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Thank you to SmallRig for sending this out to me to check out. I'm really enjoying it, but of course these are all going to be my own opinions and I will give you the pros and cons of this system. So of course there's a ton of accessories and stuff for this that you can really pick and choose and customize however you want it for your particular setup and whatever fits what you're using. But this is what they sent me. It's a kind of basic setup. It has accessories that probably a lot of people will be interested in. So I'm just going to go through this and put this together. And as I go through that, I will talk about the pros and cons of each accessory and each part of this. So what I have here in no particular order are the top handle. And this is one of many that they make. This one in particular connects to a NATO rail, which you can attach to the top of this cage. There are a couple different sizes of this. I believe it's 46 millimeter is what I have here. It fits nicely on top of here. Next up, I have this Arca Swiss quick release plate, which goes on the bottom of your cage to attach to the Arca Swiss rail support system. And this is just a really nice way to very conveniently and quickly remove this camera setup from your rail system. If you want to move it over to another tripod, it should probably be compatible with a lot of people's tripods, since a lot of people do use the Arca Swiss system. After that, I have this EVF mount, and this will attach to a NATO rail. Now, both sides of this are NATO rails, so you could attach this anywhere on either side of this. And there's a 1/4-20 screw on here with a little rubber mat, so that way it has extra grip. And this will screw into the bottom of your EVF, or if you have like a little ball mount or something you want to put on here, it can screw into the bottom of that, but just that's very easy to use. So next up we have the main cage here, and I don't have the GH5 in here now because I am recording with it, but I will put some clips on screen that show the GH5 in here and how it fits. It fits very well. There's a cutout here for the hot shoe, so it doesn't actually attach to the hot shoe because the hot shoe on the GH5 is necessary for some of the accessories that some people may be using. There is another hot shoe mount on here though, if you want to attach a microphone or something like that. And there are some little points on the bottom here that will hold it in place so it doesn't twist or come loose from the cage. It's very secure when you get it in there. It attaches to the bottom with a 1/4-20 screw, which has the slit in it you can use with a screwdriver or a coin, which is probably more likely to be in your pocket. There are also 1/4-20 and 3/8 inch screw mounts all over this. I mean, it's completely covered in them in every possible open space, so that's really useful. There are also little points on the right hand side, the grip side, where you can attach a hand strap if you want a little bit more grip on here when you're holding it by hand. They do also, of course, sell handles which will connect either to the NATO rail or to one of these screw mounts or something like that. So if you really want to handhold it a lot, you could get one of those. Of course, you also have the top handle. There is a little bit of space on either side of this between the cage and the body, but it hasn't bothered me. I can still grab it and grip the camera very nicely with my relatively small hands, so I don't think it should be much of a problem. All of the buttons and dials on here are pretty much accessible. Of course, all the ports, the doors, the battery doors, everything are completely accessible. The front dial on the GH5 on the top is a little bit more difficult to get to, but it's not impossible. Anyway, I use all manual lenses and I have my front dial set to the shutter speed or the shutter angle. I don't want to change that. I just have it set to the shutter angle and I don't want to accidentally bump it and change the shutter angle anyway, so I don't care that it's not accessible. So for me, that's not a problem. For some people, maybe that will bother you more, but it's never ever bothered me. On top of the cage, I do have the NATO rail, as I mentioned here. And it's nice with this handle combination, I think, because you can very easily and quickly remove the top handle if you don't want to use it. They have versions which will attach directly to the cage, and those are nice as well. It's very secure, of course, but you can't as easily and quickly remove it. So I like this setup, and it doesn't take up any space that I would be using for anything else. But again, I could remove this NATO rail if I wanted to anyway. I also have this HDMI support clamp on the side, and of course the GH5 comes with a clamp to support your HDMI cable, but this one is built into the cage, so you don't have to always dig out of your bag or whatever the separate Panasonic version. I think this is also a little bit more of high quality than the Panasonic version, which is kind of plasticky, and just this is very easy to use. Again, you can loosen it with just a standard coin type screw and slide your HDMI cable in there, tighten it down, and it just works really easily. It's very integrated and just doesn't take up a lot of space when you're not using it. I love having it on here. There is also the lens adapter support here on the bottom on the front. And again, this is easily removable if you want to, but you can slide it up and down to fit whatever adapter you have on here. There are different versions of this as well, which may fit different adapters better, but this is just a general one and it works for what I have, which is just a dummy adapter. And again, it doesn't get in the way when you're not using it, so I just leave it on here. Even when I'm not using the adapter, it's perfectly fine, it doesn't get in the way. So next up, as we said, I have the Arca Swiss rail support system here with the Arca Swiss clamp on top, so you can quickly and easily remove your cage separate from the rail system. I have this block with the rail block here where you can adjust the height, of course, to match your matte box, for example, to the height of your lens. This is adjusted with a Allen wrench, which unfortunately is a different size from the one that's hidden in your handle. I would like if there was somewhere on here that you could hide the Allen wrench, similar to how you can do with the handle, so you could quickly make adjustments without having to worry about forgetting that wrench or digging through your bag. But again, once you get this set up to match your system, you probably won't be making adjustments to it too frequently anyway, so it's not that big of a problem. And then you have the cheese plate on the bottom here, where you can attach a quick release plate to go onto your tripod however you want. You can quickly remove the whole setup from your tripod as well, or you could just leave it like this so you can sit it on a table or something like that, however you want to use it. Finally, we have the 15mm rails here. These are the aluminum ones. They do also have carbon fiber. These are the 16-inch, but they have a bunch of different sizes as well. And the aluminum and carbon fiber prices are not really that different, so you can use whichever you want for your system. These also do have a screw thread at the end, so you can extend them if you want. And they did come with little covers I have in this bag here if you want to just cap that off. I don't really see the need for it. It gets in the way of removing or attaching things like a matte box. So I just leave them off, but you can have them if you want. So now I will just kind of quickly put this together and show you how it all works. Again, there's a lot of customizability that you could do with this and match how you really want to set it up, but I'll just show you the basic idea. So of course you have this rail support system where you slide the rails through here on either side and then adjust them to wherever you want to fit and screw these down on the side. Next up, you would put this Arca Swiss plate onto the bottom of the cage. Normally, you would also have this screwed into your camera, of course, but right now, again, like I said, I'm recording on it, so we're just going to go ahead and attach it like this. There are 2 screws in here. So as you just saw, these screws can actually kind of fall out of here easily when you slide them all the way to the end. I do wish there was like a rubber stopper in here or something that you could just prevent that from happening when you're attaching or detaching it. But anyway, there are 2 screws in here, so you don't have to worry about this plate twisting or coming loose or anything like that. There are a number of places you can attach it on the bottom here, but if you attach it too far to the back, you won't be able to access the screw for the Arca Swiss plate. So I recommend attaching it towards the front of this setup or somewhere towards the middle at least. So you put that on here, and again, you can use a coin with this. So once you have this on here, you're going to go ahead and attach it to your Arca Swiss clamp here. And again, you can slide it back and forth, but it won't come out because it has those Arca Swiss safety pins there. So just tighten that down and you should be fine. Again, this pin on the back you can adjust if you want, if it gets in the way or if it's difficult to access for whatever reason. But just tighten that down as you would a typical Arca Swiss plate. And then now you have the handle and the EVF mount. So I have the HDMI cable on the left side here. So I'm going to attach the EVF mount to the right side of the camera. So you just slide it on here and you can adjust the height however you'd like, tighten that down. And then there's also this additional screw here where you could loosen it and adjust the pivot kind of what angle you want to view this at, and then just tighten that down. You can adjust those 2 things separately, and it's on here really securely. It doesn't take a lot of effort to really tighten this down, so that way it doesn't slide or come loose or anything like that. So just it works really well. Again, you have this little screw mount here where you could screw this into the bottom of a ball mount or just straight into the bottom of an EVF or whatever works for you. You could also attach a bunch of other stuff here too. It doesn't have to be that. You could use a microphone or whatever you want. Now we have the handle here, and again, this attaches to the NATO rail, so you could technically slide this onto the NATO rail on the side here, but I'm going to attach this to the top, and you just push it past these safety pins here. Again, now it won't slide off. You'd have to push that safety pin down to release it, so that's nice to have that little safety point there, and then tighten it down just as everything else in the system, and you're good to go. As I mentioned, it has this Allen wrench built in here. It's held in place with a magnet, but you can take it out very easily. And then you can loosen these 2 screws on the side of the handle here and adjust the position of the handle to however matches how you want to use it. You could slide it all the way forward, you could slide it all the way back or somewhere in the middle. Then just tighten it down with this Allen wrench, and then you can just slide this Allen wrench back into the handle. You also do have a hot shoe mount on the back here of this handle, so if you wanted to attach some kind of recorder or wireless receiver or something like that for a microphone, you could do that. And you also have one on the front here, of course, where you could attach a microphone or, again, a ball mount or an EVF or something like that. So you could use this however you want here, and you got all these screw mounts all over this. So just a very versatile and very easy to use system. And I gotta say that this is extremely, extremely high quality for the price. Everything is very smooth. There's no rough edges. There's no chipped paint. Everything feels solid and like it's definitely gonna last, and I'm not worried about it at all. This is a good system to get into. Once you start, I think you're gonna have a hard time stopping. You're gonna want one more. But if you're looking for a cage setup for the GH5, I would highly recommend this. If you want to check out any of these things, I will put links down in the description below. And I recommend you go check out the SmallRig website. They have a long list of cage setups and accessories, not only for the GH5, of course, but for a bunch of other cameras as well. So they should have something for whatever you need. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. If you like this video or found it helpful, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.